My name is Benji, and in today's video, I'll be discussing my top 5 meta FPL forwards from Game Weeks 1 to 5 and why. If you've enjoyed this meta series, drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of my content. Thinking cap activated. Before we begin, quick shout out to FPL Review for the predicted points data I use in the video. I provided a link to their website in the video description, so check it out. Starting off with the top meta FPL forward in Game Weeks 1 to 5, it's Erling Haaland. No surprises here. Last season, Haaland put up 6 goals, 1 assist, and 45 points in the first 5 game weeks. That's 9 points average per start. In 22-23, Haaland put up 9 goals, 1 assist, and 58 points in the first 5 game weeks. His average points per start was 11.6 in that season. In Game Week 1 alone, Haaland has returned back-to-back braces, 13 pointers in both of his past Premier League seasons. That's quite incredible. He's top of all players in FPL Game Weeks 1 to 5, predicted to pick up 34.1 points. Haaland's historical data kind of highlights just how explosive he can be. In 2022-23, he registered 3 double-digit hauls in the first 5 game weeks. Last season, he registered only 2, but still quite good. Let's discuss price briefly. 15 million is a lot. For 2.5 million less, you could opt for Salah, no Haaland, and own a very, very strong team going forward, but I see it a little differently. Consider Haaland is 35% owned at this current moment. Last year, he was in the 60s and 70s at this point. He's lost a lot of ownership, which makes him an even deadlier selection for your FPL team. A ticking Haaland time bomb is a massive rank gainer. Fixtures wise, Chelsea away in Game Week 1 isn't ideal, but he did put up 16 points there last season, and if you've been watching Chelsea like I have in preseason, I'm sure you'd agree they haven't really impressed. 4-1 loss to Celtic, awkwardly high line for Maresca. Maybe it does work out in the long run, but in 3 weeks, they'll play Man City Game Week 1, opening weekend. I highly doubt Maresca will have cracked the code by that time, so I think Haaland actually has plenty of upside in that fixture, and he's still a captaincy option for Game Week 1. Ipswich Game Week 2, it's obviously his best fixture in the first 5. Game Week 3, West Ham away, I do suspect that will be a little bit more difficult for Erling, as I think West Ham are having a decent summer for their level. Game Week 4, it's Brentford at the Etihad, which is a lower green fixture for me. Then it's Arsenal at home in Game Week 5. Saliba and Gabriel did keep him quiet in that fixture last season, but I do think Haaland can get one return. His ceiling is lowered for sure, but I wouldn't sell him because his Game Week 7 to 9 run is excellent, and you might as well hold him throughout if you can own him in Game Week 1. Top of the list for sure. I don't think anybody would argue with that. He's the best forward to get. If you don't agree, let me know why in the comment section. The second meta forward for Game Weeks 1 to 5 is Alexander Isak. Isak is predicted to score 25.1 points in the first 5 game weeks, which is the 3rd highest out of all attackers in this game week range. Isak has Southampton at home Game Week 1. I've been preaching like a church minister that this is the best fixture for attacking players in Game Week 1 just because of Newcastle's strength at St. James's Park. Last season, he scored 2 goals and put up 13 points in Game Week 1, so he does have the historical trends to back up a sizable haul. I will say that those 2 goals were his only returns in the opening 5 last season. He went on to blank 3 games in a row and didn't play Game Week 5 due to an injury. That is a bit of a turnoff, but Isak put up 172 points last season and finished the season quite strong. His injury record definitely is a worry, especially if you're attempting to set up for a very late wildcard, building a team who can get you through to Game Weeks 18, Game Weeks 19, just prolonging the wildcard so that you have more chips in your pocket. But I think starting on Isak's just a great idea. Game Week 2, Bournemouth away is a low green fixture, but Spurs at home in Game Week 3 is excellent. Isak has a special track record in that fixture. He's then playing Wolves and Fulham in Game Weeks 4 and 5. All in all, it's a fixture patch that suits Newcastle's attack, I think. Defensively, I wouldn't agree. I don't think it screams clean sheets. Wilson also is something you should monitor. Apparently, he's not quite ready and won't make Game Week 1. If Isak's minutes look like nailed 90s for the first 2 to 3 game weeks, he will be a no-brainer pick. Third spot goes to Villa's Ollie Watkins. Watkins ranks second highest in predicted points for forwards. He's predicted to score 25.2 points by FPL Review in the initial 5 fixtures. In 2022-23, Watkins registered 1 goal and 2 assists in game weeks 1 to 5. He put up 22 points. That averages out to a mere 4.4 points per start, which is not impressive at all. In 23-24, Watkins picked up 4 assists in the first 5, which also averages out to 4.4 points per start. With Villa's opening fixture patch, I do expect Watkins to return more explosively at the beginning than he's done previously, and I do expect Watkins to be Aston Villa's penalty taker due to Douglas Luiz's departure to Juventus. Game week 1, Ollie's got West Ham away. Game week 2, he's got Arsenal at home. Game week 3, it's Leicester away, and game week 4, Everton at home. Game week 5, it's Wolves at home. Those fixtures are as peachy as you can get. The good thing about Watkins is he's at a price where you can deviate to the sub 8 millions, sub 7.5 millions. You can go to a Wood, you can go to a Muniz, and you can upgrade your midfield within 2 transfers if you need to get to a Foden or a Palmer. His fixture patch also is genuinely playable every game week through 1 to 9. So if you're playing the long game, aiming to build up some transfers, he is someone who should definitely be in your plans heavy. The penalties, though, that's the key to Watkins. If he does get them, it'll transform his upside and value into a fully optimal pick. Number 4 might be a bit of a shock to your system, but it is Adam Armstrong. Armstrong is predicted to pick up 20.3 points in game weeks 1 to 5, which places him comfortably in the top 7 most predicted points for forwards. Armstrong was Southampton's top attacker last season, 21 goals and 13 assists for the Saints, compared to Carlton Morris from Luton, who a lot of friends of mine are comparing him to and been talking to me about them being similar. Morris registered 26 goal involvements the season before he came up to the Prem. Armstrong registered 34 last season, and his availability record is insane. He's a completely different type of striker, way more mobile, a bit shorter, but a low center of gravity, and he's quite quick too. Acceleration is one of his strengths in his game. If you want the full Armstrong analysis, check out my promoted players breakdown video, check timestamps, and skip to forwards. Now, Adam is the official penalty taker for Southampton, which makes him the best pickup in the forward spot, in my opinion, at 5.5 million. Ownership sitting at 3.9%. Very nice differential for big rank gain. Although I think Southampton will have a tough time in game week 1 versus Newcastle, I think they could be one to surprise next season. They've made a fair few signings, actually, with Che Adams leaving. Ben Brereton Diaz is rumored to be Armstrong's partner up front. They've also picked up Sugawara, a right back from AZ Alkmaar, who's a very decent prospect, as well as Adam Lallana for that extra depth and experience in midfield. With this year's pricing, I'm sure many of you are looking at selecting a cheap forward in your 8th attacker spot, and you've got Joao Pedro, who's got massive availability question marks, even Wood/Muniz for a little bit more money, but both don't guarantee you penalties in that 7th/8th attacker spot. Armstrong's already put up 2 goals in preseason in a Southampton side who looks to be giving themselves the best chance in staying up, so I think he's a great option. The 5th and final meta forward for game weeks 1 to 5 is Darwin Nunez, with expected minutes of 70 given on FPL Review's linear regression model. Darwin is predicted to score 22.2 points, which is the 4th best for forwards game weeks 1 to 5. The question is whether he will actually average 70 minutes per fixture in the first 5 game weeks. I'm not sure about that. Liverpool's final game versus Sevilla on August 11th will be able to give us the best idea. Liverpool have got great fixtures game weeks 1 to 5, and Darwin's historical data isn't actually terrible. Last season in game weeks 1 to 5, he registered 2 goals and 2 assists in 3 starts. He came off the bench in a couple games and was involved. If Slots seems to prefer him at 9 rather than Gakpo/Jota, he will be on the table as a possible option for game week 1. Darwin's only at 7.9% selection this season. I know he's been a frustrating asset to own. His pure finishing ability is quite poor at times. How much will Slots be able to improve this in 3 weeks? But some ways I'd say that the 5th spot goes to the Liverpool number 9, whether that be Jota, Darwin, or Gakpo. With a new bonus system in play, the 3-4-3 formation with 3 optimal forwards is a very, very viable option now, and having Liverpool's centre forward for a maximum 7.5 million looks to be a gold mine price point. As it's the end of this series, I decided to include an honorable mention section just for all of you that have been following and supporting along with the channel. Really appreciate your support, by the way, guys. Drop a like on the video if you haven't yet. My 3 honorable mentions in the forward positions are Mateta, Solanke, and Nunez. Just on Mateta, I think his minutes will be a little bit weaker than what they were at the end of last season, and with Edouard looking much fitter in preseason, and I think he actually scored in the last preseason game, Edouard. But I do suspect Mateta will see a couple of 65th minute subs, a couple 70th minute subs. Palace's fixtures are also a little bit hard to interpret, and you want the penalties guaranteed for your strikers. At least that's the way I'm looking at it. Solanke is a very different option. I watched him against Arsenal, and I do think he'll take a couple extra games to get up to his level. Plus, Bournemouth's fixtures turn nicely after game weeks 5 or 6, so I wouldn't recommend him for the start necessarily, but later down the line, he definitely should be in your plans. Finally, Rodrigo Muniz. He was really, really close to clinching the 5th spot. Very, very close to taking that spot away from Darwin. However, he won't be on penalties, and Raul Jimenez has been playing very well in preseason. Last game, Fulham won 6-3, and Jimenez scored a goal and got 2 assists. But Jimenez has been playing very well, and I think minutes will be shared more in Fulham's centre forward spot. If you're thinking about Muniz, I do like him as an option, but Wood at the same price point has marginally better fixtures, and Wood might also be on penalties. If this video provided you with some insight, go ahead and drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Peace.